Something happened and the Cubs win on Tuesday for the first time all season. We talk about it next.
You are Locked On Cubs, your daily Chicago Cubs podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
You are Locked On Cubs, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. I'm Sam Olber. I'm a lifelong fan, taking my passion into a discussion with you on all things Cubs. Today's episode is brought to you by Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off your first purchase. Do we have a little division race down the stretch of the final 23? We talk about that later. We talk about an unsung position group that has just been a huge boost to the Cubs this year. Some PCA platoon stuff, but we begin on Tuesday night at the friendly confines with the Cubs winning their second consecutive game, taking the series against the Atlanta Braves by a score of 4-3. The big story in this game, the big headline in this game, both good and bad, the bad not being his fault, is Kyle Tucker. For the first time this season, I'm going to say this again because I don't think some people will realize this. For the first time this season, Kyle Tucker hit a home run to the opposite field. A left center field, Wrigley home run. One of the things I was so excited about when he got here was that swing. I was waiting for it because, we had that swing with the Crawford boxes in Houston. We just haven't seen that swing. We haven't seen that left center field pop. And it wasn't a basket scraper either. It was a legitimate opposite field home run. It was a 3-run shot, part of a 4-run inning, the only inning the Cubs scored in. And it was the biggest hit of the baseball game. Unfortunately, later on in the game, Kyle Tucker was removed with what the Cubs are calling calf tightness. I'm not sure where it happened. I'm not going to speculate anything right now. I'm waiting right now, like all of you, for a report. Hopefully, I'll get one as this show goes. I'll be checking Twitter to see. But obviously, anytime you have a player of his caliber go on or have to leave a game, it sparks things because, especially with Tucker, I'm not going to speculate anything on the injury, but even if it all comes back great, we now know he was playing with that finger thing for such a long time or the hand thing. I don't remember if it was his hand or his finger. But it's even if he's out there now, we're going to overanalyze the performance and be a little bit nervous about that. And he's just starting to get going because that is the swing that I've been waiting for. I know he had a great road trip. I know he broke out in Anaheim, but as somebody that's watched a lot of baseball, when you have a talented hitter like that from the left side, be able to go opposite field and go to left center field the way that he did, that's the swing. And I bet you that's the swing that Kyle Tucker's been waiting for a really long time. I know the home run to right feels great. Don't get me wrong. But when you're able to showcase that opposite field pop, that's when as a hitter, you're feeling good. Any good major league hitter, they're going to hit their pull side home runs. But when you start to get into 1, 5, 6, 7 rows up to the opposite field, now it's, now you're feeling it a little bit. Now you're in a groove. And so I sincerely hope that this is just a precautionary nothing, maybe a game tomorrow, and then they have an off day on Thursday, and he comes back against the Nationals on Friday because that when he hit that, and I'm not just saying this to be dramatic. I'm not just saying this because later in the game he got hurt. When he hit that swing, I was like, he's back. That was the swing. That I know like I said, I know he's been red hot, but that was, in my opinion, that was the I'm back swing. That opposite field. Just beautiful swing of the bat. So I hope that he obviously is okay and, can come back as soon as possible because this team needs him. Otherwise, it wasn't a whole lot offensively in this game. Happ had an RBI hit. He continues his hot, stretch here. Nico had a couple hits at the top of the lineup. Seiya continues to really just hit into unbelievable luck. I don't know if you guys have noticed this with Seiya. It's more this year than last year, but it started last year. The left fielder just basically gives him the line. Basically, it's a right fielder, a center fielder, and then a left center fielder. There's nobody in straightaway left because he just hits the ball to the left center field gap so much. And he hit a ball today I forgot how hard it was off the bat, but it was crushed. And it's like, oh, that's a gapper. And then it's like, no, you forgot that the left center field player there plays there for Seiya. So, he's starting to show signs, I think, of coming out of it. But it's, the overall numbers are really taking a hit. Kevin Alcantara got a chance to play. We're going to talk about that in a little bit. He had a hit and scored a run. Pete came on later in the platoon situation to finish the game defensively. As far as Shota goes, 6 innings, 3 earned, ERA at 3.15. I mean, he's having a magnificent season. His record now with the Cubs, I believe, is 24-9 after the latest win. I think with Shota, he gave up 2 more home runs today. Luckily, they're both solo. I just think my only concern with Shota is it's obviously it's the home run ball, right? And, there is a little randomness to it when it's solo and when it's not. And if he's going to pitch game 1 of a playoff series, A, you hope the wind's blowing in. And B, if it isn't great conditions, he just can't walk people and stuff. Because the only thing that's just terrifying with him is he's an amazing pitcher. The guy's amazing, and he's been amazing as a Cub. And it feels almost wrong to say a what if or an if. It's just the home run ball is it's so prevalent for him. It's so right there, and you just in one playoff game, you get a little bit worried about it. But what makes him so special, what makes him so unique, is that his whip is 0.93, meaning his walks and hits per innings pitch is so low because he doesn't give up a ton of hits and he doesn't walk people, and that's why he's successful. You know what I mean? Because when he does give up those home runs, they are mostly of the solo variety. So, he just needs to keep doing what he's doing, but just something to keep in mind. 2 more homers today. I didn't think he was particularly sharp. He gave up a good amount of hard contact, but he got the job done. And 90% plus of his starts, that's what he does. He gets the job done. The Cubs were winning this game. It was 4-0. It felt real comfortable. And then he gave up a triple to Olsen. Then a wild pitch, and then a homer to Albies, who I got to just say separately, one of the biggest Cub killers I've ever gone up against or ever seen go up against the Cubs. I mean, seriously, I've always known he's a really good player, but now the definition of a guy that just absolutely destroys your team is even when he's not having a good year, even when he's not good, he's still amazing versus your team. And I was really interested to watch the Cubs face Albies because he's really having a poor season by his standards. And he just looks unbelievable. I mean, he looks unbelievable. 2 more hits, another home run, and then Eli White hit a home run. But the reason the Cubs were able to win this game, and I think as big of a reason as any that they're going to be a playoff team, is their bullpen got the job done. We talk about those guys and more coming up next. This episode is brought to you by Upside. Hey, Locked On Cubs fans, are you still paying full price for gas? Stop leaving money behind. Get real cash back every time you fill up with the free Upside app. Simply download the free Upside app in the App Store or Google Play right now and start earning cash at the pump today. Use my limited time promo code SEASON to get an extra 25 cents back per gallon on your first fill up. You can make up to $300 a year just from buying the gas you already needed. At first, I thought it was too good to be true, but it's totally legit. Real people are getting paid just to make their daily commutes, and you can too. Plus, you can cash out anytime to your bank account, PayPal, or an e-gift card for Amazon and other brands. Don't let this offer drive on by. Download the free Upside app now using my limited time promo code SEASON for a limited time 25 cent per gallon bonus. That's promo code SEASON. Offers vary by user and location. Go to upside.com for terms and conditions. This episode is brought to you by Game Time. There's nothing like catching a baseball game live. The energy, the crowd, the chance to see your team in person. But actually getting tickets, that's the tough part. Queues, login screens, surprise fees, it takes all the fun out of it. That's why I use Game Time, the app that gives the advantage back to fans. Game Time is fast, easy, and backed by the Game Time guarantee. You always get 100% authentic tickets delivered on time and at the best price. Plus, all fees are included, so the price you see is the price you pay. I've used Game Time for every Cub game that I've been to. It's the best. You get tickets right away. You could literally wait up the first pitch. The prices go down. Fees are included. Know your total up front with no surprise fees at checkout. So download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, that's promo code LOCKEDOMLB for $20 off. Swipe, tap, ticket, go. Download Game Time today. All right, we are back here on Locked On Cubs, and Matt and I were doing our MVPs of the season or the candidates, and Matt mentioned a position group, the catcher group, being in there, and we had individual bullpen pieces. This bullpen to me has been the unsung hero this season. There's plenty of individual guys, whether it's Keller, Thielbar, Palencia, Pomerantz, now Kittredge, whatever, whoever you want to put in there. But this bullpen as a whole, how many times have you listened to me in the offseason, in the beginning of the season? They got to figure out their bullpen. They got to figure out their bullpen. They got to figure out their bullpen. And it got off to a disastrous start this year. I mean, Porter Hodge was supposed to be the closer. Ryan Presley was supposed to be the closer. Porter Hodge was supposed to be the setup man. And again, they did get it wrong out of spring again. Both those guys are non-factors in the bullpen now, but they fixed it quicker. Daniel Palencia has come in. He's been a little bit shaky lately. Had another couple guys get on base, but he got the job done. But overall, you can't say anything more about Palencia. He's been great. Brad Keller's been the best reliever on the team. And if it isn't Brad Keller, then it's been Caleb Thielbar. The only reason I lean Keller over Thielbar, if I had to, is that Thielbar is more of a specialist where Keller faces both, but they've both been absolutely magnificent. I mean, look at the ERAs, guys, of the three dudes that pitched today. Pomerantz, remember when they just randomly got him? That was his 11th hold. He now has a 2.04 ERA. Thielbar, 1.99 ERA. Palencia, 2.16 ERA. We know Keller's ERA is really low. Kittredge has become a reliable guy. Even before they had to get rid of Flexen did a lot of really good things for them. This is what I mean when I say this season is so important, because you just don't get performances like that, man. Like, this is crazy. How many games have we watched? Matt and I covered the second half of the 22 season. We covered the 23 season. We covered the 24 season. Now we're covering 25. How many times in second half of 22, 23, and 24 do you say, oh no, 4-0 lead becomes 4-3, and now they just got to hold on? Because that was one of those games. Tonight was one of those games where you were setting yourself up to say, well, the offense kind of failed at the end there. They didn't do anything but one inning. But the bullpen, you don't talk about that because the bullpen did the job. The bullpen is the ultimate Band-Aid. It's like having an unbelievable quarterback in football around a really mediocre team that makes everybody look good. Like, those guys, that wasn't a great offensive performance today. They scored one inning, but they scored 4 runs, and the bullpen made it hold up. And, outside of a couple runners in the 9th, there wasn't a ton of drama. And that's how it's been. And that's been, I think, when you look at PCA, you look at Tucker, you look at Boyd, you look at Cade, you look at all these guys that have produced at a really, really high level. I just think at the top of the list, not individually, but group-wise, this bullpen, and of course I'm saying this and I'm setting myself up for tomorrow, but, they've been really, really good. And at some point, they're probably not going to be as good, and hopefully the starters and more so the offense will be able to bail them out a couple of times, because this bullpen has really done a nice job for this team, particularly Palencia, Thielbar, Keller, Pomerantz, and like I said, now that you had Kittredge. But I just thought that's what really stuck out to me. That was my takeaway from this game, is that's just a game the Cubs usually lose, right? 4-0 lead becomes 4-3. Now, you got, even I tweeted out, you got to score more runs. This isn't going to be a game that ends 4-3. You're going to have to get to 5. You're going to have to get to 6. No, sometimes it can be that. And that's why I was so frustrated for so many years, where I know 3-2 games you could always blame on the offense, but sometimes you got to win those. You don't want to rely on them all the time, but sometimes you got to win them. And you got to win them sometimes in October too. And you just feel good with this group of relievers right now. And I give them, and you got to give Jed in that regard his credit. He fixed that bullpen, and he fixed it in enough time for the Cubs to have a 90-plus win season. I wanted to mention a little bit of Alcantara up, Owen Casey down. Matt projected that basically as Matt said that actually happened in live time when we recorded last night. I don't have a whole lot of opinion on it. I guess my take would be that they want Casey playing every day, and they don't, they think Alcantara fits better as a platoon type guy for now. Whereas, Casey just isn't getting better and he's not getting a chance to play. Now we'll see what happens with this Tucker injury. As I am refreshing Twitter quickly because, here it is. Taylor McGregor. This is from McGregor. Cubs Craig Counsell says Kyle Tucker will not play tomorrow. They'll use tomorrow and the off day Thursday to heal. We'll see how it responds by Friday, but he said they'll be cautious. Okay, yeah, that's not great. I was obviously just hoping they said, yeah, it's nothing. Hopefully he's in there tomorrow, if not Friday for sure. But we'll see. I mean, I knew he wasn't going to play tomorrow, but we'll see on that. I guess back to my point, if Tucker does have to miss any time or go to the IL, then you'll probably see Owen Casey back up again. I think it's a really smart move by Craig to platoon PCA a little bit against lefties down the stretch here, because I think Pete just needs a little bit of a breather as we head into the home stretch here. I just think he needs a little bit of a breather. There's 23 games left. If he starts like 8 of them and 18 of them and gets like 5 off, I don't think that's the worst case. I really do believe, this is just my personal opinion, not making any excuses for anybody. I just think Pete's tired. I think it's just a lot. He's go, energy, and he's missing fastballs that he crushed all year. Now all of a sudden he's hitting like 111 on fastballs since August 1st. I just think he's a tick late, a tick off, and I think he could just use a little bit of a mental refresher. And why not give that to him against lefties where he hits, in the high 100s against those guys? I think it makes sense. I thought that's why Willie Castro was on the team. I'm struggling to find his value right now, but if that's what Kevin Alcantara's there to do, and he can get a couple hits off of him here and there, that's fine. If the Cubs were to face a lefty starter in October, Pete's going to be out there. But right now, I don't think it's the worst thing in the world, to just give Pete some time. I just think Pete needs some time. He's 23. It's been a long year. MVP conversations, all-star stuff. You get tired, you get burnt out a little bit, especially when you swing at everything and your style of play is go. And when that style, when you are a little bit off, it changes everything, because he's so reliant on that energy and that, hey, just see it and hit it and all that stuff. So I don't mind it. I don't think it's that big of a story. I'm glad it hasn't become that big of a story. We'll see how it happens down the stretch. Speaking of down the stretch, obviously, this Kyle Tucker injury is going to be the caveat in this next segment, but do we have a potential division race with 23 games left to go? Can the Cubs at least put some real game pressure on the Milwaukee Brewers? Let's talk about that next. This episode is brought to you by Monarch Money. Most people can't name all their financial accounts or even what they're worth, whether it's 401ks, properties, or investments. And when you don't have the full picture, you can end up leaving money on the table. That's why there's Monarch Money. It's an all-in-one personal finance tool that brings your entire financial life together in one clean, easy-to-use interface on your laptop or your phone. Monarch is built for people with busy lives. If you put off organizing your finances, Monarch is for you. Monarch does the heavy lifting for you. You can link all your accounts in minutes, see clear data visuals, get smart categorization of your spending, and finally feel in control of your money without ever touching a spreadsheet. You can identify that you aren't saving as much as you thought, like I identified, because all I do is spend money on food delivery services instead of driving the 7 minutes to go get the food. That stuff starts to add up. Maximizing investments, increasing your savings rate, easily reviewing finances with your partner and or advisor, keeping a clear view of your financial health week to week. So don't let financial opportunities slip through the cracks. Use code LOCKEDONMLB at monarchmoney.com in your browser for half off your first year. That's 50% off your first year at monarchmoney.com with code LOCKEDONMLB. We are back here on Locked On Cubs. Make sure you are subscribed to the Locked On Cubs. That way you don't miss any of the great Cubs content we've got for you. That includes the Cubs postcast with Joe George, who does an awesome job live after the final out of every game. We also have an important request. Locked On wants to hear from you. We've put together a survey to learn more about our listeners and make your favorite podcast even better. This is your chance to tell us what you like, what you don't, and answer questions about our advertising. Go to lockedonpodcast.com/survey to get started. Everyone who completes a survey will be entered for a chance to win one of 10 $100 Amazon gift cards. Again, that's lockedonpodcast.com/survey. You can also find the link in this episode description. All right. It's a little premature. There's 23 games left to go, and the Chicago Cubs trail the Milwaukee Brewers by 5 games. Is this a pennant race? Is this a pennant race? Is this a divisional race, I guess is the appropriate term. I agree with Matt. I think it needs to get down. If the Cubs can get it down to 3 with about 15, 16, 17 to go, then it gets real serious. Remember, the Cubs own the tiebreaker. So if you really want to look at it, they're actually not 5 back. They're more hypothetically 4.5 back, because if the Cubs and Brewers end up with the same record, the Cubs would go through. Okay. So I have the 23 games left that the Cubs have, the 23 games left that the Brewers have, and the record I think the Cubs need to go to have a serious chance at this. Okay. Cubs have 4 left with the Braves, 1 tomorrow, and next week they go to Atlanta. While some people will be watching Monday Night Football, the Cubs will be in Atlanta at that ballpark where they never have any success, seeing how that goes. They have 4 left with Atlanta, like I said. 3 Washington, home. 3 Tampa, home. Gotta like those. 3 at Pitt, 4 at Cincy, 3 at home versus New York, 3 at home versus St. Louis. 23 baseball games to go. 23. I think the Cubs need to win at minimum. I think they got to get to about 17. I think they got to go 17-6 and finish with 97 wins in order to really have a chance and win this division. Because if you get to 17, that means the Brewers go 12-11 down the stretch. And that's asking a lot right there with how good they've been. But here's who they have left. A little trickier. They got 2 left with Philly, 3 Pitt. They got to go to Texas. That's a tricky series. They got to go to San Diego. That's a tricky series. They have 6 left with the Cardinals. That's going to probably determine it. We're going to need the Cardinals to take 3 of those 6 in theory, if that's going to happen. They have 3 against the Angels, and then they wrap up the year with 3 at home against Cincinnati. Hopefully those games matter for Cincinnati, but the Mets are starting to heat up, so they might not. So I think 18-5, I think, gives you a real shot. I mean, that's a heck of a stretch to go 18-5. I think you can go 18-5. That gives you a real shot because, I could see the Brewers going 13-10. 13-10. That's not a bad stretch of baseball. 12-11. They haven't done a lot of 12-11 recently here. You kind of just have to flip it. You kind of just have to make it like 2018, where the Cubs played 500-ish baseball down the stretch and the Brewers didn't lose. Well, 7 years later, the Cubs are going to have to get on a stretch where they just don't really lose a lot. And that's going to be 17 out of 23, 18 out of 23 to get to 97, 98 wins. Do I think it's going to happen? Probably not. Is it possible? Sure. Sure it is. And let me tell you something about the game of baseball and the game of sports. Everything changes with real game pressure. Everything. When they look up, if they look up and there's 9 to go and they're only 2 up, it's just a different feel, man. It's just a different feel. So we'll see. I think the Cubs deserve some credit that they cut it down to 5. It was once 9. It's now 5. I know 23 games doesn't feel like a lot because it isn't, but a lot can happen. A lot can happen. One crazy sweep for the Brewers, you never know, or of the Brewers, you never know. So we'll see what happens with that. It's going to be fascinating to follow down the stretch. But at the very least, the Cubs' main goal is to get that first wild card spot, play your wild card games at Wrigley Field, defend your home turf because they're a really good home team. Some other news and notes: the Cubs signed Joe Ross. I don't have much on that. Just more depth, a pitcher there. I wouldn't expect them to need him at the major league level. And really, if I'm being honest with you, which I always try to do, it's this Kyle Tucker thing now is huge. You know what I mean? Calf tightness. That could be anything. But we need to get out of that with nothing, because he's really starting to show signs, and not show signs. That's disrespectful to him. He's looks like he's back. He's hitting the ball great again, and he hit a long opposite field home run today. And the Cubs really, really need him healthy for the home stretch here, and for him to be at his best. And I'm starting to see some things with Seiya, just a little bit of him coming out of it. And then, the last domino to fall would be either Pete or Bush. And we got 23 games to get there. But if we can get those guys going again at the same time, that's going to be the key to being able to have a magical run in October. We know about the starters. A little bit concerned lately, with Boyd and Shota. We'll see how Cade looks tomorrow. This bullpen has been great. We know this season is going to go as far as the Chicago Cubs offense takes them, and without a healthy Kyle Tucker, it's not really even worth talking about. So best wishes for Tucker. Hopefully he's good. Cubs have won 2 games in a row. Let's go finish a sweep. Tomorrow and really start to play good baseball, really start to put pressure on, really start to stack wins. I mean, it's a very favorable matchup on paper. You got Elder, who's, his ERA is close to 6. Cade has been amazing. Cubs are pretty heavy favorites. Go finish that sweep and get a nice off day, a nice rare home off day, and then maybe you sweep the Nationals and things will get really exciting here. This is Locked On Cubs, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. For your second listen, check out the all-new Locked On MLB Game Night. Every game, every night, all season long, guys. Check that out. They're amazing. Lindsey Crosby's always on it, and he does the Braves postcast as well. He does an awesome job along with all the other guys. Get local analysis on a national scale. Find MLB Game Night on the Locked On MLB channel on YouTube, or wherever you listen to your podcast.